You think you are tired because life is busy. You think you are overwhelmed because you have too much to do. You think your relationships feel heavy because people are complicated. You think money feels stressful because prices are high. But what if these are not separate problems? What if they are all feeding the same leak? And what if the most dangerous part is this? You started calling it normal. Most people do not collapse all at once. They erode. A little less patience, a little more anxiety, a little less sleep, a little more scrolling, a little more tolerance for disrespect, a little less energy to enforce boundaries, until one day they realize they are functioning, but they are not free, showing up, but not grounded, surviving the day, but not commanding themselves. Then they say the sentence that keeps the prison standing. This is just how life is. No, this is not just life. This is a pattern, and the pattern has been normalized. This is why the Stoic Quotient begins with diagnosis. Because if you do not diagnose the leak, you will keep decorating the damage. You will call anxiety ambition. You will call people-pleasing kindness. You will call exhaustion discipline. You will call numbness peace. You will call digital addiction productivity. And slowly, you will build an identity around the very thing draining you. Look at the 5 places most people are leaking right now. First, ambiguity, the unread text, the vague reply, the person who pulls away, then comes back. The relationship that never gives you a clean answer. You tell yourself you are just thinking, but your nervous system is scanning. Are we safe? Are we wanted? Are we about to be abandoned? When you live in that loop long enough, distance starts to feel deep. Confusion starts to feel like chemistry. Inconsistency starts to feel exciting. That is not attraction, that is a leak. Second, scarcity. The bill, the mortgage, the grocery price, the number in the bank account. Money is not just math. Money becomes emotional weather. It changes your patience, your sleep, your posture, and what you tolerate. Scarcity does not only attack your wallet, it attacks your imagination. It makes the future feel smaller. When fear becomes the manager of your future, you do not become wise, you become governed. Third, overload. Too many tabs, too many messages, too many decisions, too many open loops. Because nothing looks catastrophic from the outside, you shame yourself for feeling overwhelmed. But the nervous system measures overload by how much unresolved demand is sitting inside you at once. So you sit in a quiet room, but your body is still bracing. You lie down, but your mind is still patrolling. No closure, no rest, no all clear. Fourth, approval pressure. The disappointed face, the reaching hands, the guilt, the fear that if you say no, someone will punish you with distance. So you keep explaining, you keep softening, you keep abandoning your own boundaries so someone else does not feel the edge of your truth, and you call it being a good person. But sometimes what you call goodness is fear wearing moral clothing. Stoicism never asked you to betray yourself to manage another person's emotions. Stoicism asked you to live by virtue, courage, justice, temperance, wisdom, not performance, not appeasement, not emotional slavery. The Stoic does not ask, will they like this? The Stoic asks, is this right? That single question can save your life. Fifth, stimulation. The phone glow, the scroll, the notification, the artificial urgency. You are not just consuming content, you are being conditioned. Every swipe teaches your attention to fragment. Every alert teaches your body to react. Every burst of novelty trains your mind to distrust stillness. Then silence feels boring. Peace feels empty. Deep work feels painful. And solitude feels like withdrawal. That is not normal. That is training. The modern world has trained your nervous system to stay available, reactive, and easy to govern. And this is why quote culture is not enough. A quote can inspire you, but a quote cannot regulate the body that keeps hijacking your decisions. A quote can remind you to stay calm. But if your nervous system is living in threat detection, calm becomes a performance. Modern Stoicism has to go deeper. The old model trained recognition. The new model trains regulation. Recognition says, I know I should not react. Regulation says, my body can stay steady long enough for wisdom to choose. That gap is everything. Between stimulus and response is where freedom lives. But if your nervous system is leaking everywhere, that gap gets smaller. You react faster, you assume more, you chase harder, you spend quicker, you scroll longer, you abandon yourself sooner. That is why these issues cannot be treated as separate. Relationship anxiety, money fear, work overload, phone addiction, approval hunger. On the surface, they look different. Underneath, they may share the same architecture. A nervous system that does not feel safe enough to pause. And if you cannot pause, you cannot choose. If you cannot choose, you are not free. This is the Stoic Quotient, Stoicism 2.0. Not quote collecting, not fake calm, not pretending you are above emotion while your body is quietly collapsing. The Stoic Quotient, Stoicism 2.0, is diagnosis, regulation, installation, and application. You begin creating closure where your life is full of open loops. You begin refusing ambiguity as a lifestyle. You begin separating real responsibility from inherited guilt. You begin reducing false emergencies. You begin choosing fewer inputs with more intention. You begin asking, what is draining my judgment? What is weakening my standards? What is making me easier to govern? What pattern keeps repeating under different costumes? That is the real work. The moment you do not chase the vague person. The moment you open the bill and make a plan. The moment you close 10 tabs and finish one thing. The moment you say no without writing a courtroom defense. The moment you put the phone down and let your nervous system remember that silence will not kill you. That is not weakness. That is repair. You may have normalized what is draining you. You may have called the pressure maturity. You may have called the leak life. But now you are seeing it. And seeing it is the beginning of power. That is a leak. A leak is any repeated pattern that drains your energy, weakens your judgment, and makes you easier to govern by fear, approval, ambiguity, or stimulation. Take the free nervous system audit. Stop guessing. Name the leak beneath the pattern. The conversation does not end here. We are going deeper in the next videos. Because once you see the leak, the next step is learning how to repair the architecture beneath it. Come back, stay supported, stay loved, stay hopeful. And do not call captivity normal just because everyone around you has adjusted to the cage.